If you're planning to hike the W Trek or the O Circuit Trail in Torres del Paine, I'm going to show you everything you need to know to plan your adventure. Patagonia has such a unique landscape, and the O Circuit Trail really shows the best parts of it. You will see stunning lakes, dramatic peaks, and most importantly, massive glaciers. You can do the hike comfortably and lightweight if you stay at the mountain huts, or you can be completely self-sufficient and camp along the whole way. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. Now, if you're planning to do the hike all by yourself, I've got really good news for you. I'm happy to announce that now you can purchase an interactive guide for this hike, so you can have all the information and the maps with you while hiking. This is perfect for anyone who wants to do a self-guided hike. So you can download all the stages on your device, including the GPX tracks and important points as well. For example, all the mountain hut locations, mountain passes, and other important information. Also, you'll get a mini guide with the stage descriptions and essential info that you can download on your device and carry with you on the hike. It's now available on our website, so go ahead and check it out. The link is in the description. So the hike is located in Torres del Paine National Park, which is in the Chilean Patagonia, down here. And the route looks like this. So in Torres del Paine, you have two famous routes that you can do. One of them is called the W Trek, which is basically this one over here, because it makes this kind of like a W shape. And then there is the O Circuit, which is this circle here. So the O Circuit basically is the W Trek plus something extra. And the W Trek is the most popular one. So you can find a lot of people along this route here. But if you want to do the O Circuits, it's less crowded on this part. So I'm going to show you how to do the full O Circuit trail. And with the O Circuit, one important thing to know is that you are only allowed to do the hike counterclockwise. So you cannot hike this way. But if you want to do the W Trek, you can do it either way around. However, most people tend to start from the western side so that they finish here, which is kind of the highlights of the hike. The numbers for the O Circuit Trail were 123 kilometers, elevation gain 5,400, and also since it's a circle, the elevation loss was the same, and then maximum elevation was 1,200. And usually people do this in 7 to 9 days. I did mine in 8 days. So I will show you the itinerary for an 8-day hike. And as you can see here on the elevation profile, it's pretty flat. So you have, here is one big climb, and then at the end you have another kind of big climb here. But overall, I would say that this hike, it's medium hard, like, because the numbers are not that bad. It's kind of long, but then you're not climbing that much. What really can make the hike harder is the weather. So Patagonia is kind of notorious for the extreme weather, especially with the wind. So you can get super strong winds in this area, and it can really affect your hike. So sometimes you can get like these gusts of wind that really just knock you down. So I would say that the weather is what can make things a bit harder. The trail itself, it's easy to follow. Everybody has to go the same direction. So, and even though it is very isolated area, like this national park is in the middle of Patagonia and it's very isolated, like wilderness, it's still easy to follow the trail, and you do feel safe because there are other hikers around you. I felt completely safe the whole time. And I did this hike by myself. And how do you get there? So first you need to go to Puerto Natales in Chile. And you can fly directly to Puerto Natales, or you could fly to Punta Arenas. The airport in Punta Arenas is a bit bigger, so they might have more connections. And if you fly here, you can take a direct bus to Puerto Natales. Or also, if you are traveling in the Argentinian Patagonia, you can get a bus from El Calafate. So from here, there's a direct bus connection to Puerto Natales. So it's well connected, even though it's a very remote area. It's kind of easy to get there. And then from Puerto Natales, you need to take another bus that takes you inside the Torres del Paine National Park. And it's about 2-hour bus journey from the city to the park. Before heading to the park, you first need to get an entry ticket, and you can do it easily online. They have a website where you can do it, and currently it is about 46,000 Chilean pesos, which is around 40 euros. And you can find all the links from our website, takehike.io. So if you want to get more info about bus connections or buy the tickets for the bus, the links are here. And also to buy the entry ticket for the park, the link is here. And when you enter the park, they might ask you to show your reservations. So if you don't have reservations for the campsites or the mountain huts, they might not let you in. So make sure that you have made all the reservations. And let's talk about the accommodations. So along this route, you will find 6 mountain huts and 9 campsites. And so you can see all the campsites and the mountain huts here on the map. Now, there are more campsites than mountain huts, so it kind of means that if you want to do the full route, you would have to spend some nights at the campsites. However, this doesn't mean that you need to carry all your camping gear, because all the campsites, they also let you rent the full camping gear. So you could rent the tent, sleeping bag, and sleeping mattress. So you can still do this whole hike lightweight, so you don't need to carry any camping gear. And all the mountain huts and campsites are owned by 2 different companies, Las Torres and Vertis. So you need to make all the reservations through one of these companies. And again, you can find links to both places here on our website. If you sleep at the mountain huts, you get the full package. So you get the sleeping place, you get food, so it's all very comfortable, there's hot showers. And for the campers, all the campsites, they have some sort of shelter where you can cook your own food. So it was very comfortable, especially if it's raining or if it's really windy, you can kind of escape the elements. And so you can do camping along the whole way. However, you are not allowed to do wild camp. So you always need to stay at the official campsite. And luckily there are many campsites along the way, so it's easy to plan where to camp. And regarding gears, you need to be well prepared, because the weather in Patagonia can be a bit extreme, especially when it comes to the rain and the wind. So I would suggest having proper rainproof gear, like a jacket, pants, and boots. And then for the pack, you shouldn't use this pack cover because of the wind. Most likely it will just blow away. What you can do instead is get a bunch of plastic bags, and then you pack everything inside the plastic bags, and then you put them in your pack. For example, I would use one plastic bag just for my sleeping bag and put it in, and then for the clothing, another plastic bag. And it all worked well. Like, I never had an issue with the wet gear, even though it rained a lot. And another thing you should pack is some sort of little day pack. Because along this route, there are 2 times where you could leave your big pack and then hike with the small day pack. So you can still carry some like water and snacks, and then like your rain jacket or some extra layers if you need. But it would be very helpful because these extension paths, they are quite long and you need to climb a lot. So it really helps if you can leave your big pack and then just hike with the day pack. And you can get these really compressed bags. Like I had mine, it was like this big, so it's super compressed and lightweight. It doesn't take any space in your backpack, but it's well worth it. And if you don't have all your camping gear with you, it's not a problem. In Puerto Natales, you can rent everything. For example, when I was there, I didn't have any camping gear with me. I had my hiking gear, like all my clothing and boots and a backpack, but I didn't have any camping gear. And with this hike, I wanted to do like the full self-sufficient camping experience. So I wanted to carry my tent, my cooking gear, my food, all of it. The problem was that I didn't have any of it, but it's not a problem. You can rent everything in Puerto Natales, and I rented mine from Rental Natales, and this place I highly recommend. It's run by this guy, Guillermo, and he was super friendly, very knowledgeable, and really good service. And so I had to rent the tent, sleeping bag, sleeping mattress, the cooking stuff, gas, everything, like cups and forks and everything. And it was good. Like, I was very happy what I got. And regarding food and water, so some of the mountain huts, they have a restaurant, so you could get like proper plates, and some of them have a little mini market, so you could buy some snacks. And getting water as well was pretty easy. Like at all the mountain huts at the campsites would have a water source. And also there are a lot of rivers that you will either follow or you will cross. So there are these natural water sources as well. The only place where you should carry some extra water is when you go over the Garner mountain pass. On that day, you don't come across any natural water source. So, but I will show you that later on where that is. I'm going to show you the itinerary for an 8-day hike, so you'll get the idea what sort of numbers we're talking about for each stage and also all the highlights. So day 1 was pretty easy. It was only less than 14 kilometers and elevation gain just 300. So this is kind of like a nice, easy introduction into the Patagonian wilderness. You go through some like a forest, and then it's like here like a nice, this like a meadow area where you follow the river. But as a first day, I think it was nice and easy, I would say. And then I slept at the camping Serón. And day 2 is already a bit longer. It's 18 kilometers and elevation gain is 500 meters. Here, kind of in the beginning, you do a little climb. It's kind of short, but it's quite steep. And when you get over this little hill, you might get a lot of wind. Like for me, this one was a super windy spot. But once you kind of continue along this, you kind of like contour on the side of it. Then it kind of calms down. You're a bit more sheltered. But here as well, you get like really beautiful views. You have the Lago Paine there, and then you follow the river. So this one was a really beautiful stretch over here. And then you finish the day in the Refugio Dickson. And this hut was my favorite. Like the location of it was just beautiful. And day 3 was kind of easy. It was 11 kilometers and 500 meters of elevation gain. Most of the day you just follow this river, and along the way here you will get some views of the glacier here. So here there is the glacier Los Perros. It's a beautiful glacier, and then it's connected to the lake, Lago Los Perros. And here at the end you can get to the lake as well to get like a proper view. And then the camping, Los Perros, is, very close to it. And then the day 4 is one of the hardest days. So this one is, well, actually, as a distance, it's not so long. Okay, it's like 14K. But then you are climbing almost 1,000 meters. And here is when you go over the Garner mountain pass. This one over here. So this is the highest point along the trail. And when you leave the campsite, I mean, the climb is not that bad. Like you can see here, it's little by little. The terrain can be a bit harder though, like it's quite rocky, and depending on the season, if there's a lot of snow, it might be hard to see the trail. So you might need to use your navigation skills here. But I would say for me, it was a rather easy climb. And then once you do reach the mountain pass, you will get views of the glacier. And it's the Glacier Grey, this one. So this one is a huge glacier, and then it's connected to the Lago Grey. And this glacier is the highlight of this stage. I mean, I would say it's the highlight of this whole route, the O Circuit route. And this is not what you get if you do the W trek. So once you go over the mountain pass, you will get views along the whole way. So you kind of go on the side of this, so you get views of the glacier the whole time. And I mean, it's simply stunning. Like, it's a massive glacier. Like, you don't get to see that in in many hikes. And also on this stage, you need to cross 3 suspension bridges. And now these can be a bit scary if you are afraid of heights, because they are suspension bridges, and especially if there's a lot of wind, they can be very shaky. I felt a bit nervous when I had to cross these. And then the Refugio and the Camping Grey is right over here. And then before going to the Refugio, you could go to these viewpoints where you could see like a front view of the glacier. And on this day, you don't really find a water source along this whole route here. So I would carry some extra water. And then on the day 5, on this stage, you actually join the W hike. So from this point onward, the trail is a bit busier with people. And this stage is actually quite easy. So it's just 10 kilometers and 400 meters of elevation gain. And it's a beautiful stage. You go along the Grey Lake. So also here, since it's an easy day, if the previous day you didn't have time to go check out the viewpoint here, you can easily do on in the morning here before you start actually hiking. So then you could go back to this viewpoint here and check it out. I remember for me, this day was really rainy, like it was forecasting a lot of rain for the morning. So I decided to wait until early afternoon to start hiking. I think I left the campsite here at 1 in the afternoon because then the rain stopped, and then I managed to hike, here the whole stage without any rain. So it's also nice that you have this little flexibility, if the weather is really bad, so you can kind of wait it out. And then the camping and the Refugio Grande. This one is very popular. It's a big facility. But the campsite was really beautiful. You have all these peaks around, so really beautiful setting. And the stage 6, this is quite long. So it's 20 kilometers long, and then the elevation gain is 1,000. And this one is beautiful as well, like with the lakes, you have such a nice views with the combination of lakes, and then you see the peaks over here in the distance. So it was really beautiful. Here at the beginning, this part was super windy. Like I almost got knocked over because of the wind. And then once you get here you can do this extension. So you don't need to do it, but I highly recommend. If the weather is good, if you have the time, you should really try to go see at least one of these viewpoints. So you have this viewpoint Francés and the viewpoint Británico. So it's a valley that you climb. It's about 600 meters of climbing that you need to do to get all the way up to here. And it's 6 kilometers one way. But the good thing here is that here they have this like ranger station, and you can leave your big backpack here. And here's the part where you would use the little day pack. So you can still carry some water, snacks, and some extra layers, and then hike all this thing just with the little backpack. So it makes it way easier. And then once you come back, I finished my day here in the camping Francés. And then stage 7 was 15 kilometers and 500 meters of elevation gain. And most of the day you follow on the side of the lake. So it's really beautiful views. For me, this day was super rainy. It rained the whole day. So it was a bit sad. I didn't manage to, just to take a nice break and enjoy the lake views. But still, yeah. I mean, it was an easy way. It's kind of, rolling here up and down on the side of the lake. And then you finish the day here in the beginning. So technically, you have done the circle already. So the loop is finished. However, it's not the end of the hike. So you still have one stage left. And it's kind of the highlights of the hike as well. So on the stage 8, you basically go up to here to the Las Torres viewpoint. And these are the towers that are the highlights in this park. So these are the towers, Las Torres, as in Torres del Paine. And this day as well, it's kind of tough. So it's almost 19 kilometers long, and then elevation gain is 1,100. But again, here is when you can leave your big backpack at the campsite or at the mountain hut, and you just hike with the little day pack. So already way easier. Although on this day, I would highly recommend starting early because this hike is really popular. So there are a lot of tours and people that come just to do a little day hike, or they do this route as a day hike and then they leave. So when the buses arrive here in the morning, you kind of want to beat the crowds. So yeah, try to start hiking before the buses come. I did that, and then when I was coming down, I would see a lot of these tour groups and like day hikers. And also, when you get to the viewpoint up here, the chances are that you might not be able to see anything because if the weather is cloudy or foggy, the towers, you might not see anything. And that happened to me. Like once I got here, I saw the lake, but I had no idea like where the towers were supposed to be because I've seen some photos, but still I couldn't kind of imagine like where are they supposed to be. But I decided to wait and see if the fog would kind of shift away. And I waited about 20 minutes. It was quite cold though, like there was wind and it was very cold. So in a way, you don't want to be waiting there if it's like rainy and cold. You're not going to wait there forever. But at least give it like half an hour and then maybe the clouds might shift and you will get to see the towers. So this is the best photo I managed to get. But it was beautiful when you saw like the clouds like shifting and then it's like revealing the towers. So it was a beautiful moment. And the best time to do this hike would be the summertime, which in the Patagonia would be from December to February. But you can also do it in the shoulder season, so November or early March is still doable. I did mine in mid-December. And regarding payments, most of the huts, they do accept card payments, but if the reception is not so good, you should still definitely carry some cash with you for emergencies. And the local currency is the Chilean peso. That's basically everything you need to know about the O Circuit Trail in Torres del Paine. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments and don't forget to subscribe.